Welcome to another episode of True Crime Case Files. In today's episode, we delve into a shocking murder at a sleepover that rocked the community of Grand Rapids, Michigan in March of 2003. Our story begins with Melinda Stabenow, Kaley Mautner, and DeAnna Bowles, all 15 years old. They were more than just friends, they were a trio bound by dreams and aspirations that mirrored the innocence of their youth. Melinda Stabenow, with her laughter that echoed on the soccer fields, harbored dreams of nurturing animals back to health as a veterinarian. Her passion for life was as clear as the bright Michigan skies under which she played her favorite sport. Kaley Mautner, the artist among them, was the silent strength of the group. Her sketches and designs, often inspired by the vibrant pop culture of the early 2000s, revealed a future filled with creativity as she aspired to become a renowned graphic designer. DeAnna Bowles, the most vivacious of the three, danced through life with the ambition to one day grace stages far beyond the confines of their hometown. Her energy was infectious, and her dreams of becoming a professional dancer were as palpable as the beats of the chart-topping hits of the era. These three friends, with their unique personalities and aspirations, formed an unbreakable bond. They were often seen together, laughing and sharing secrets as they navigated the challenges of adolescence. On the evening of March 12, 2003, the trio planned a sleepover at Melinda's house, a cozy suburban home nestled on Elm Street. As the evening progressed, the girls chatted, giggled, and indulged in their favorite snacks. They watched their favorite TV show, Friends, a popular sitcom that had captured the hearts of viewers across the nation. Unbeknownst to them, this would be the last time they would enjoy each other's company, and that this innocent gathering would soon turn into a nightmare. On the morning of March 12, 2003, a pall of smoke rose above a serene suburban street in Grand Rapids, Michigan, disrupting the calm with the harrowing signs of an unfolding tragedy. The morning started like any other, with the crisp air of early spring hanging over the neighborhood. The sun had just begun to rise, casting a soft glow on the quiet streets. But as the clock struck 7:15 a.m., the tranquility was shattered by thick smoke billowing from the Stabenow residence, a home supposed to be filled with the laughter and dreams of three young girls enjoying a sleepover. Patty Burstack, a neighbor who had been enjoying her morning coffee, was the first to notice the alarming scene. She quickly dialed 911, her voice trembling with urgency as she reported the unfolding tragedy. The call would soon summon the brave men and women of the Grand Rapids Fire Department to the scene. Within minutes, firefighters arrived, their red engines blaring in the otherwise serene neighborhood. They fought valiantly against the raging inferno, their efforts hampered by the intensity of the flames. As they battled the fire, their hearts sank when they discovered the lifeless bodies of Melinda Stabenow, Kaley Mautner, and DeAnna Bowles inside the house. The devastation was overwhelming, not only for the families of the victims but for the entire community. News of the tragedy spread like wildfire, capturing the attention of local media outlets. The Grand Rapids Gazette, known for its comprehensive coverage of the city's events, dedicated coverage to the shocking incident. Local television stations broadcasted live updates from the scene as reporters provided real-time information to a captivated audience. As investigators combed through the charred remains of the house, searching for answers, the community gathered, holding vigils and grappling with the senselessness of the loss. The girls, remembered for their aspirations and the joy they brought to those around them, became symbols of a peace shattered, their futures unjustly seized by the flames of that fateful March morning. As the smoke cleared and the flames were extinguished, the Grand Rapids Police Department descended upon the charred remains of the Stabenow house. Led by Lieutenant Brendan Miller, a seasoned investigator known for his meticulousness, the team began their arduous task of unraveling the truth behind the tragic events of that fateful morning. The initial focus of the investigation was arson, as the fire had consumed the house with a ferocity that left little doubt of its intentional nature. However, as the detectives meticulously combed through the debris, a different, more sinister narrative began to emerge. Amidst the wreckage, they discovered the lifeless bodies of Melinda Stabenow, Kaley Mautner, and DeAnna Bowles, all 15 years old and inseparable friends. The sight was heart-wrenching, their dreams and aspirations cut short in a cruel and senseless act of violence. Toxicology reports further deepened the mystery. Traces of alcohol were found in the girls' systems, raising questions about the events leading up to their deaths. The presence of alcohol, combined with the absence of any signs of forced entry or struggle, hinted at a night of ill-fated decisions and tragic consequences. Lieutenant Miller and his team meticulously pieced together the timeline of events leading up to that fatal night. Interviews with friends, family, and neighbors revealed that the trio had attended a sleepover at Melinda's house the evening before the fire. The girls had reportedly been in high spirits, laughing and joking as they enjoyed the freedom of a weekend night. As the investigation unfolded, the media frenzy surrounding the case grew. Local news outlets, such as the Grand Rapids Press and WDTV8, covered the story. The tragedy struck a chord with parents and teenagers alike, highlighting the vulnerability of youth and the fragility of life. The detectives analyzed every piece of evidence, from the charred remains of the house to the girls' personal belongings. They scoured the neighborhood for witnesses and surveillance footage, hoping to catch a glimpse of the events leading up to the fire. Every lead, no matter how small, was pursued with unwavering determination. Days turned into weeks, and the investigation seemed to hit a dead end. The community, gripped by fear and uncertainty, pleaded for answers. The police, in collaboration with federal agencies, expanded their search, exploring every possible avenue to bring justice to the victims and closure to their grieving families. The investigation into the shocking murder at the sleepover in Grand Rapids, Michigan, took a dramatic turn when the focus shifted to Melinda Stabenow's father, Barry Stabenow. Barry, a 43-year-old unemployed widower, became the prime suspect in the case, sending shockwaves through the tight-knit community. As detectives delved deeper into Barry's life, they discovered a hidden battle with alcoholism. Witnesses came forward, revealing that Barry had been struggling with his addiction for years, often seen frequenting bars in the area. This revelation raised eyebrows and led investigators to question whether Barry's alcoholism played a role in the tragic events of that fateful night. To corroborate his alibi, Barry provided receipts from a local bar, the Rusty Anchor, showing that he had been there during the time of the fire. The bar's surveillance footage was also reviewed, confirming his presence. However, the investigation didn't end there. Detectives meticulously combed through Barry's financial records, searching for any clues that might link him to the crime. They discovered that Barry had recently taken out a life insurance policy on Melinda, raising suspicions about his motives. Additionally, they uncovered a series of text messages between Barry and an unknown individual, discussing a plan and the need for money. The mysterious texts prompted investigators to dig deeper into Barry's social circle. They interviewed friends, family, and neighbors, looking for any possible connections to the crime. One name that kept resurfacing was Sergei Tony Rusov, a local loan shark known for his ruthless tactics. Tony Rusov had been pressuring Barry for repayment of a substantial debt. Investigators suspected that Barry's financial troubles, coupled with his alcoholism, may have pushed him to desperate measures. They theorized that Barry may have struck a deal with Tony Rusov, involving the murder of his own daughter as a way to collect the insurance money and settle his debts. The investigation took a dramatic twist when detectives discovered a hidden compartment in Barry's car containing a large sum of cash. The bills were stained with traces of smoke, suggesting a connection to the fire that claimed the lives of Melinda, Kaley, and DeAnna. As the investigation intensified, the community of Grand Rapids held its breath, anxiously awaiting answers for the shocking murder that had rocked their quiet town. As the investigation into the shocking murder at the sleepover continued, the focus shifted to the second suspect, Kaley Bowles, the older brother of one of the victims, DeAnna Bowles. Kyle, a 19-year-old worker at Pizza Hut, found himself at the center of intense scrutiny as detectives probed deeper into his relationship with the girls and his potential involvement in the crime. Rumors had been circulating within the tight-knit community of Grand Rapids, Michigan, about an inappropriate relationship between Kyle and Melinda Stabenow, one of the victims. These whispers only served to fuel speculation and suspicion. However, investigators knew they needed concrete evidence to connect Kyle to the murder. Lieutenant Miller, the seasoned investigator leading the case, meticulously pieced together the events leading up to the tragic night. Interviews with friends and acquaintances revealed that Kyle had been the one who supplied the alcohol, vodka to be exact, at the sleepover. The toxicology reports confirmed the significant presence of alcohol in the girls' systems, further strengthening the suspicion that their deaths were not accidental. The police obtained search warrants for Kyle's residence, hoping to find any evidence that could link him to the crime. They combed through his room, searching for anything that could provide a breakthrough in the case. Among the items seized were his laptop and cell phone, which were sent to the forensic lab for analysis. As the investigation progressed, detectives discovered a series of text messages exchanged between Kyle and Melinda in the days leading up to the sleepover. These messages hinted at a strained relationship and raised questions about the true nature of their connection. However, without concrete proof of any wrongdoing, the case against Kyle remained circumstantial. Despite the mounting suspicion, Kyle maintained his innocence. He vehemently denied any involvement in the murder and insisted that he had only supplied vodka to the girls, unaware of the tragic consequences that would follow. Investigators continued to dig deeper, hoping to find the missing pieces of the puzzle that would either incriminate or exonerate him. In the weeks following the devastating fire that claimed the lives of Melinda Stabenow, Kaley Mautner, and DeAnna Bowles, investigators were tirelessly piecing together the puzzle of this shocking crime. The discovery of remnants of a makeshift drug lab in the Stabenow basement sent shockwaves through the community and shifted the focus of the investigation to Melinda's older brother, Jimmy. Jimmy Stabenow, a 19-year-old worker at QT, had been away working at his night shift. However, the newfound evidence raised suspicions about his involvement in the tragedy. The drug lab, concealed in the basement, indicated a possible connection to the girls' deaths. As the investigation unfolded, rumors began to circulate about Jimmy's involvement with a local drug ring. Sources close to the investigation indicated that he had been associated with a notorious gang operating in the Grand Rapids area. The gang, known as the Midnight Shadows, had been linked to various criminal activities, including drug trafficking and violence. Detectives reached out to local law enforcement agencies for assistance in gathering information about the Midnight Shadows. They uncovered a series of recent drug busts and arrests related to the gang's operations. The evidence suggested that the gang had been expanding their operations in the western Michigan, using unsuspecting individuals as pawns in their illicit activities. As the media caught wind of the investigation's new direction, the case became the talk of the town. Local news outlets, such as the Grand Rapids Press and WOD-TV, dedicated airtime and column space to the ongoing investigation. The community was on edge, anxiously awaiting answers and justice for the 3 innocent lives lost. As the investigation entered its critical phase, the community of Grand Rapids held its breath, hoping for closure and justice for Melinda, Kaley, and DeAnna. In Grand Rapids, Michigan, the shocking murder case that unfolded in March of 2003 continued to captivate the community. As investigators dug deeper into the tragic events that claimed the lives of 3 inseparable teenage girls, a new suspect emerged: Melinda Stabenow's older brother, Jimmy. Jimmy Stabenow, a 22-year-old who worked the night shift at a local QT convenience store, had initially provided an alibi, claiming to be at work during the time of the fire that engulfed their family home. However, the discovery of a makeshift drug lab in the Stabenow basement turned the spotlight on him. Lieutenant Miller, the seasoned investigator leading the case, meticulously examined the evidence. The remnants of the drug lab indicated a potentially dangerous operation, raising questions about Jimmy's involvement. The lab, consisting of various chemicals, glassware, and drug paraphernalia, suggested a clandestine operation that had gone horribly wrong. As the investigation unfolded, details began to emerge about Jimmy's secretive activities. Co-workers at the QT convenience store reported his unusual behavior in the weeks leading up to the fire. They described him as increasingly withdrawn and irritable, often disappearing for long periods during his shifts. The discovery of the drug lab shed light on the possible reasons behind his erratic behavior. To further complicate matters, witnesses came forward with information about Jimmy's association with a local drug dealer known as Slick Rick Matavecchio. According to witnesses, Jimmy had been seen in the company of Slick Rick on multiple occasions, leading to speculation about their involvement in the drug trade. With mounting evidence against him, Jimmy's alibi began to crumble. Surveillance footage from the QT convenience store was reviewed, revealing gaps in his presence during the night of the fire. Witnesses also claimed to have seen Jimmy leaving the store for extended periods, raising suspicions about his whereabouts during the crucial hours. As the community anxiously awaited answers, the case against Jimmy Stabenow continued to unfold. The once quiet and unassuming older brother of Melinda now found himself at the center of a chilling murder investigation. With the weight of evidence mounting against him, the question remained, was Jimmy responsible for the deaths of his sister and her friends? In a stunning turn of events, the Grand Rapids sleepover murder case reached its dramatic conclusion. After weeks of intense investigation, the truth behind the tragic deaths of Melinda Stabenow, Kaley Mautner, and DeAnna Bowles had finally been revealed. The investigation, led by seasoned detective Lieutenant Miller, took a surprising twist when evidence of a makeshift drug lab was discovered in the Stabenow basement. This discovery shifted the focus to Melinda's older brother, Jimmy Stabenow, a 22-year-old who worked the night shift at a local QT. Initially, Jimmy had claimed to be at work during the fire that engulfed their house, but the evidence found at the scene painted a different picture. As the investigators dug deeper, it became apparent that Jimmy's lack of expertise in drug manufacturing had caused a volatile reaction, ultimately leading to the devastating fire that claimed the lives of the three innocent girls. The investigation further revealed that Jimmy's friend and assistant in the drug business, Kaley Bowles, had supplied the girls with alcohol, rendering them unable to escape the deadly inferno. Although rumors had circulated about an inappropriate relationship between Kyle and Melinda, investigators found no concrete evidence to support these claims. As the pieces of the puzzle fell into place, Jimmy Stabenow could no longer deny his involvement. Confronted with the overwhelming evidence against him, he confessed to his role in the tragedy. The weight of his actions was etched on his face, a mixture of shame and disbelief. The revelation that his son was responsible for the horrific deaths of their daughter and her friends left Melinda's grieving father Barry shattered. Already grappling with the loss of his wife and daughter, he now had to come to terms with the unimaginable truth. The trial of Jimmy Stabenow, the man responsible for the tragic deaths of Melinda Stabenow, Kaley Mautner, and DeAnna Bowles, captivated the area as it unfolded in a Grand Rapids courtroom. The proceedings, which began on March 10, 2004, showcased the meticulous work of the prosecution, led by the formidable Jana Henrys, and the defense team headed by renowned attorney Louis Vattel. The courtroom was packed with reporters from national and local media outlets, eager to capture every detail of the trial. The families of the victims, still grappling with the devastating loss of their daughters, sat together, finding solace in each other's presence. Henrys, known for her tenacity and attention to detail, methodically presented the evidence against Stabenow. She painted a vivid picture of the events leading up to the fire that claimed the lives of the three young girls. The jury listened intently as she described how Stabenow's reckless actions, combined with his involvement in a drug manufacturing operation, resulted in the tragedy that unfolded on that fateful morning of March 12, 2003. The defense team, led by Louis Vattel, argued that the fire was a tragic accident, highlighting Stabenow's lack of expertise in drug manufacturing. Vattel attempted to create doubt in the minds of the jurors, suggesting that Stabenow did not intend for the fire to occur and that it was a consequence of his inexperience and poor judgment. Throughout the trial, the prosecution called upon expert witnesses to testify about the makeshift drug lab found in the Stabenow basement. They presented evidence that linked Stabenow to the manufacturing of illegal substances and established a clear motive for his actions. The defense, in contrast, emphasized the lack of direct evidence linking Stabenow to the deaths of the girls. After weeks of gripping testimony and intense deliberation, the jury reached a unanimous verdict on April 2, 2004. Jimmy Stabenow was found guilty on all 3 counts of second-degree murder. The courtroom fell into a hushed silence as the verdict was read aloud, the weight of the decision resonating with everyone present. Judge Paul C. Thompson, known for his no-nonsense approach to sentencing, delivered the final blow. On April 15, 2004, he sentenced Stabenow to 40 to 60 years in prison, ensuring that he would spend a significant portion of his life behind bars for his heinous crimes. As the trial concluded, the families of Melinda Stabenow, Kaley Mautner, and DeAnna Bowles found a flicker of closure in the verdict and sentencing. However, the wounds left by the loss of their beloved daughters would forever remain a painful reminder of the tragedy that shook the community of Grand Rapids in March of 2003. After the trial that captivated the city of Grand Rapids, the lives of those involved in the tragic sleepover murder case took unexpected turns. Barry Stabenow, father of Melinda Stabenow, and still mourning the loss of his daughter, decided to leave Grand Rapids, Michigan, the place that held too many painful memories. He relocated to a small town in upstate New York, hoping to find solace in a fresh start. Meanwhile, Kaley Bowles, the older brother of victim DeAnna Bowles, found himself ostracized by the community. Despite striking a plea deal with the police, which kept him out of prison, the weight of guilt and public scrutiny became unbearable. In search of a new beginning, Kyle packed his bags and headed west to California, where he hoped to start over and leave the past behind. The once vibrant neighborhood where the sleepover tragedy occurred was forever marked by the events of that fateful night. The charred remains of the Stabenow house were a constant reminder of the lives lost and the innocence shattered. The community, once tight-knit and trusting, became guarded and suspicious. In the aftermath of the trial, the media frenzy surrounding the case slowly subsided, leaving Grand Rapids to heal in the shadows. The families of the victims, however, were left to grapple with their grief and the lingering questions that still haunted them. As the years passed, the wounds began to scar. The pain never truly faded. The families of Melinda, Kaley, and DeAnna found solace in each other, forming a tight bond that only they could understand. They leaned on one another for support, sharing their memories and finding strength in their shared loss. The sleepover that promised fun and friendship turned into a nightmare. This case serves as a chilling reminder of the devastating consequences of recklessness and the enduring impact of violence on families and communities.
Hey, true crime case solvers, interested in more real-life murder mysteries? Be sure to like and subscribe to our channel. And do you have any thoughts about this case or have a case of your own you'd like us to investigate? Leave us a comment. Until then, stay safe, true crime case solvers.